Hello everybody, Soul Ripper here in Trailmakers again, and in this Spacebound update it has been released, so everybody is playing. So I thought it was a good time to make a new how-to video on logic and show you guys some tips and tricks how I do things. So here we have a hover system. I did a video on a hover system before, but this one is a bit new. I learned some new tips and tricks. So this one has a turn off switch, so this is completely off. That's the red logic. You have the yellow on top. We'll just go into build mode just to make it more clear. We have the bright yellow on top, which is pointing upwards. And it's set configured to 0.2, just like the previous system. And output of 1 and trigger below. So that's still the same. And if you have a very heavy vehicle, you can up the speed. And we have this is 0.2 because the signals are sent per frame of your of the game. So if you don't do it at 0, you will slowly go down. So, and then we have the switch. So the like the arrow indicates, the speed sensor signal goes into the AND gate. The AND gate is connected to a different gate. This is in this case an OR gate, but which does not really matter. You can use any gate. It's just an extra button press or switch in this case. For the logic, it doesn't really matter if it's not connected to anything. You can use any block for a button or switch, depending if you toggle it or not. So this is connected to the AND gate, and the AND gate works when all inputs connected to the AND gates are on. Then it gives an output. That signal goes to the XOR gate and to the AND gate. Here, the yellow XOR gate is maximum power output to the engines. Very simple. So that's our normal hover in place output. The AND gate is gonna be at 25% or whatever output you want, depending on how big your build is. You have to play around with it. In this case, I usually use 25%, 0.25. Goes to the engines. This is gonna be our secondary output. So if this one is blocked, which is gonna be, this one is activated. And these buttons here, set to left control, are gonna be our blocking and activating buttons. You need 2 to block a signal for an XOR gate, because an XOR gate can only handle one signal at one input, and gives one output to the whatever you're connected to. In this case, the space thruster engines. These AND gate OR gates also activate the AND gate, which needs all its inputs to be on, and then it will give a signal towards the space thruster or output, and lower in this case the whole contraption. So we're going to turn it on. Turn the switch on, which is the red one, and then we're going to go up with space. So this is going to be hovering, and we're using some gyro stabilizers to keep our X and Y planes stable, or whatever. Makes it that we don't turn and flip. We have a gyro under it. We're turning left and right now, which is not really important, but it's just, to keep it from spinning around. So right now the signal, as you can see, is going from the speed sensor through the AND gate into the XOR gate, and which is both arrows are green, and those are going towards the engines, which you can hear. Yeah. So now we press control, and now you're going to see that the blue gate is going to be all green, and the yellow gate is going to be blocked. There we go. Up, down, and up, and down, and up. So, and this is done on one plane. You can do this or on one point. You could of course do if you have a larger creation and with multiple engines or multiple places, you can do speed sensors at each corner of your build or wherever you want. That will help you balance. This way, compared to the old way, is better for hovering. Because each corner, especially if you use multiple of this, With the previous one I just blocked the signal and I gave a steady 20% signal, which essentially meant you were not using the speed sensor anymore. So builds would go lean left, right, pitch forwards, downward, backwards. But with this, if one side is going faster than the other side, the speed sensor will not be triggered anymore at the slower side, and you will straighten out. In this case it doesn't matter, especially since we now have gyros and gyro stabilizers. It's less needed, but if you want to build something without those, this is really helpful. So that's hovering, and now we're going to go to the next step, and we're going to implement this. Let's see, where's that build? Oh yeah, with some a new build. So this is essentially the same system. Everything that's red is the old system. In this case only it's turned on from the start. And now we're going to take a look at the gyros. In this case it's going to be just normal gyros, no gyro stabilizers. I want this to go under any angle, and I want to have it stay there. So you have to correct yourself. Let's see, and you can turn around and then you get a nice rocket seat. It's a little tricky to handle, but it's more of an example. So let's go. We're going to go to build mode. So in this case we have the speed sensors directly going into the XOR and AND gates, so it's always on from the start. So you have from the start 100%, that's why you hover immediately and don't hit the ground. And if you of course want to put an AND gate between that, you can do that. So it goes from the speed sensor into an AND gate, into the XOR and AND gate. And then you start from the whole thing from the start again. Okay, so now we have the new bits. We're gonna go for a pitch and with the yellow gyros. Always pay attention that they are pointing the right way, but if you copy and paste them to the other side, they flip. As you can see, the red arrow is now in the front and not in the back like this one. So a trick. In a big build you can set the strength to 10 for instance, but if you do that with a small build you will get vibrations. Because there's too little weight to counteract the movement of the gyros, and it's gonna be very twitchy. And in this case we have 5. You can play around with that because you don't need that much power for a smaller build. Just play around and figure out which is enough stabilization and control depending on what you need. So you just have to fiddle around with the strength or power. As you can see, we have no inputs because I do not want, when I steer or lean forward, the maximum power. If I do that, we can do that as an example right now. Just do the pitch forwards and backwards. So now we get this effect. And now this is 5, so it's not that bad. But what you can also do is just, and you can probably already see the colors. You can take a logic block. Again, it doesn't matter which one. This is just going to be external buttons. You take a logic block, put the inputs in there, and give it an output and a lower output. So you have the stabilization strength in this case of 5, but you only use 20% of the output. So it leans slower, but it's still stabilized for the same power. Same for the left, right, which of course is then purple. And we have a orange, and for rotation I didn't care that much. It can be maximum, but you can do the same principle of course. Just use a different logic block and make it turn slower. So that's gyros. That's a good trick for gyros. So for instance, when I have a bigger build like this one, and I want it to be extra stable, I have the gyros, set the max, and again no inputs. This will mean You can turn slowly, but if you would do this at everything at max, you would spin around like crazy. But we don't want that. Or you can and you can adjust. This is also set to 0.20. If you want faster pitch, 0.30, 0.40, 0.50, whatever you want. You just have to you know, try out what you like. And so now we're going to go back to the next one, the next step, and that's going to be weapons. We got the new blasters in the Spacebound update, and of course the smaller versions of that, the tiny blasters, which have no auto aim. The blasters right now are a bit overpowered compared to the old weapons of the same size and the same functionality, the tiny cannon and the smart cannon. They require more power cores, so that's of course a difference. But if you're, for instance, playing in sandbox modes against your friends, it doesn't really matter how much power cores you're using. I have builds that have 600 or 700 power cores, nobody cares. Of course, if you're going to do a battle, it's nice to balance it out against each other. But the blaster has, for instance, no recoil. So if I shoot, your ship does not care. And now it's leaning a little bit back, that's more because of the weight. So you can just shoot and you will not be pushed backwards. If I, for instance, would do the same with the smart cannons, and I think 2 already will be enough for that, just to show that. There you go. Just going backwards. So, no issues with recall, which is always nice. The other thing also is that the smart blasters do way more damage. A big 4x8 plate is shot and broken in 2 shots, where the cannons require much more. So, for all your new weapons, if you can, and if you want to, of course, and I would use the smart cannon, the new smart blasters, and the smart, the mini blasters or tiny blasters. Yeah. So, and yeah, that's we're gonna go out into space with one of my ships, and I'm gonna show you another trick with the. We're first gonna take a look at the rudder. Let's get out of here. So, now we're in space, and we have a Chirpo spaceship over here. So, the rudder is to keep you keep you from drifting, and it's like the control surface on a plane in atmosphere. So it gives you a kind of an arcade feel, which you probably already heard from the devs and from other creators. So that's nice. But the strength of the rudder determines how much stabilization you have and how much drift you have. The lower you have it, the more drift you have, but the faster you go, because it also creates drag. Yeah. Same for the turn rate. The harder it goes, the faster you brake. So if you want to go really fast, you have to lower the strength. But there's another trick. You can also say, if I want to go, and why is it not going down? Oh, there we go. Yeah, a little bit of a lag spike, I think. If we take the decoupler block, just a second, I moved something in my screen which I was not supposed to. Where is that? There we go. Yep, back. So, sorry for that. I have a ultra wide screen, so I have to change my recording resolutions, or you guys get a very weird looking screen. So now you put the space rudder on a decoupler and select the button to trigger it. Toggle, make scrap. Yep. Okay, so now you have the functionality of a rudder, and when you have repair ready, you can just say destroy, increase your speed, to wherever you want to go. And let's just say we want to go to the big rock over there. And it's mostly handy to do that in a straight line, of course. That's so you get enormous speeds. In this case, almost 3000 kph. You press repair when you want to stop, and you will slow down. So it's a kind of a way to circumvent the rudder. I still have the enormous speed. And we have another trick. UFO engines in space still work, but they are very unstable if you do that. You'll flip around. So you can still make them like this ship, which will give you instant power in the direction you're going. But you will need the gyros to stabilize them. So if you wanna, in my case, it's a small pontoon is pushed at a 35 angle into the hover pad, which is set to the lowest output or distance. That will give you more concentrated power and will mean you go fast. And as you can see, even with a rudder, you can accelerate pretty quickly. And I have two rudders set to the power of one normal starting rudder, and I can reach 1000 kph plus. So 1060 in a straight line. And hello, yes, I am indeed a meatbag, but you're too slow to catch me. So the advantage of the UFO engines is that you have way more instant power, you have way less drift. As you can see, I catch up with my tail very quickly and get up to speed again. So in a space fight, this is very useful. And like I said, if you have repair like I now have now, we can say, let's aim for the mushroom planet. Line it up. Loose the space rudders, or the quantum rudders, that's what I meant, and repair. And as you can see, you will slow down very quickly. Of course you have to time it correctly and all that kind of thing, but I am usually way faster to a location than anyone else, just because of this. Even if you overshoot, you're still way faster than anyone else. So, of course, other tricks you can. Weapons timing is always good. The EMP fires at about 1 every 6 seconds. Every 6 seconds you shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 7. It's 6. I counted it before and I tested it. And your cannons, for instance, it's always useful to time them. I usually do a delay of 0.10 and just keep counting up. 0, 20, 0, 30, 40, 50. You can put about 6 of those blasters behind each other, and they will not hit each other. So there is a chance you will hit in your cockpit, so look out how you place them. EMPs just shoot themselves if you put anything in front of them, so that's not how it works. And right now all the tiny versions of the cannons, or the small ones, shoot everything in front of them. The first block, I believe the devs are working on it, but yeah, we will see. And of course another trick, a very simple trick, if you do not want to have a trail on your rudders, if you want to be stealthy, just make the part black, and there's not supposed to show anything. Yeah, there you go. There is still sometimes that your old stream remains. Just press repair and go back into build mode. And as you can see, we have no stream now. So if you want to make a stealthy build, or you want to make something that people cannot follow your trail, that's one way to do it. Turn off the names in the session options, and there you go. So we did some hovering, we looked at the gyros, we looked at the space rudder, and I think I'm gonna end it here. We're about 20 minutes now, which is for a YouTube video pretty long. If you guys want to see anything else, you want something explained, leave it in the comments. If you like the videos, please like the video. And sub if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 1000 subs, and I want to thank everybody who joined since the last video. I think I got about 13 subs, which for me is very nice. With the guy with the 400 subs. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you want to see anything, leave it in the comments. Bye.